Good morning, everybody. It's about 8 o'clock on a brisk Florida morning, and welcome to my channel. Thank you for stopping by. Hey, and in a former video, I was discussing this poor thing, this little drama queen right in here, and she was besieged with yellow leaves. This one's still a bit yellow, but I did change the soil in the pot. I took her out of the pot and, examined the roots. The roots looked really healthy, so I wasn't sure. They smelled healthy. In other words, they didn't smell like decay or anything gross. And, so everything looked fine. So I just replanted in some good nutritious soil and took off all the yellow leaves, and she's looking pretty spiffy right now. Nice, happy, shiny leaves. Checked it all over, no critters on the roots. So maybe it would, it's probably just having a hissy fit over the soil. So she seems pretty happy now. I also replanted my alocasia poly, and I put her in pure orchid mix with a tiny bit of tropical mix on top of that, just to hold her steady, and she could not be happier. And I'm leaving her outside just because I want to see how she does. So this one gets watered about twice a week with that particular orchid soil in there. And it's not really soil, it's just orchid mix. And I did put a little soil on the top, as you can see. But that means she needs to be watered twice a week because, that water will run right through that orchid mix. And of course, they don't want to sit in water, but they don't want to get dehydrated either. And the snake plant is doing really well in its new pot. Everybody looks pretty happy. Now this one I broke up into 3 different plants. There were so many plants attached to this with viable roots. So I took one down here and I put another one at the front of the house by the front door. So lots and lots of plants got repotted, and I put the pretty little pansies in that one. Everybody else looks pretty happy. I replanted almost every single pot or every single plant out here. And it's a good thing too, because I haven't done these yet. I haven't tackled these guys yet. But they do look really happy, so I think I'm gonna leave them alone at least throughout the winter. This one, just so happy. Got a few concerning brown spots on the leaves, and have had since it started growing back all of its leaves. This one had dropped down to 1 leaf when it was inside. So we've discussed that, and we decided if we're bringing it inside, we're gonna have to put it under a grow light. This thing is still hanging on. I don't dare touch it because I'm afraid it'll just come right off, but no roots yet. This one is a slow rooter. Okay, I did also take out a bunch of little pillias from the repotting of this one and this one, and I also have a bunch more that came out. This one's doing really well. I finally put this one in some decent soil. She popped out 2 little babies, so I put those in there with her. I don't know if I'm going to leave them in there, but they are there temporarily. And like I said, there is a massive dearth of flower pots in my yard right now, which has never happened before. But, I'm okay with it, because that means lots and lots of happy plants. Lots and lots. Look at that. my little string of pearls. Just as happy as can be. I moved her over here. I don't know why I moved her over here. Maybe for some more sun. I'm not really sure. But look at those gorgeous, gorgeous flowers. Let me try and get a close-up of this one. Look at that flower. It's not all the way out yet, but I can't wait. I just love succulents. And this one, if anyone knows the name of this one, I'm thinking it might be a wandering Jew, but I'm not sure. Tons of those. There's so many different varieties of wandering Jew. I know there's some with purple, some with just green. This one's looking a little sad. I may have to repot this one. Spider plant's happy. Really, really happy. And this little air plant is just as happy as it can be in a little tiny pot of sphagnum moss. Get some new little sprouts there. That's never happened to me before with an air plant. Usually I kill them right away. This guy's doing good. Dropping a few leaves on its own. And we'll just keep a close eye on that and see how it does. Still haven't found out what this one is yet. If anyone knows, please drop a comment for me. And don't forget to like and subscribe too. If you have a mind to, I would very much appreciate that. Here's our baby staghorn fern. Seems to be doing okay. Feeling a little crispy, so I'll have to spray it. There we go. Let's give you a nice little drink of water. I just more or less spray these, and if it rains, I just kind of hang it on the outside and let the rain nourish it. But in the meantime, it really does need to be kept kind of misted. You know, this leaf is so strange. It's just bending all over the place. It's not broken. It's just bent. There we go. Little bit of a breeze. It is brisk this morning, but I do want to show you what I did with the Meyer lemon tree and this gorgeous plant right here. I way downsized the pot for the Meyer lemon and it is thriving. Look at these gorgeous buds. Look. There are no ugly leaves left. Now I did strip all the bad leaves off of this part of the plant and I'm hoping it grows back. This one gave me a nasty stick under the fingernail, which was fun. It bled for a while, then it puffed up. Then I got stuck on another finger and that puffed up. So be careful if you guys are dealing with Meyer lemons. They do have thorns. Now the tea plant, and I keep calling it a tea plant because if you smell these gorgeous, gorgeous blossoms, they smell like really good tea. I love them. And it was being overtaken by a colony of ants. So again, I took it out of the pot that it was in, cleaned the pot really well, mixed up some new soil. I also put some mosquito bits in there because I was able to get some mosquito bits from Amazon. So I had a gift card from Amazon, so I went ahead and used that up for the plants. And hopefully that'll keep the fungus gnats away, as well as other nasties. Like maybe it'll discourage the ants from wanting to make a colony in there, because this one was really overrun by ants. Seems pretty happy now. Is sort of listing to one side, so I have her propped up against the wall of the house here. And these poor guys are still doing. Now I did put some mosquito bits in there too. Hopefully it will discourage that fungus from growing on the back of the leaves. Look at that, that's terrible. I'm gonna have to take this leaf off. And it doesn't want to come off, so we'll leave it alone. It doesn't want to come off, we'll leave it. I listen to my plants. Okay, here. No growth yet, but a few ants. You know, hopefully they don't colonize this. But yeah, that plant was in the ICU for the last couple of days. I had it out of the soil. I hosed it down really well and cleaned the roots off really well. Gave it a little bit of a root trim because it was a bit root bound in that pot. And then just potted it back up with some nice nutritious soil. These are doing well. This one's got some spots on it. I have not repotted this one yet, but I'm probably going to. He doesn't look very happy. Don't love these brown spots on the leaves, and I don't know what they are, so. Rosemary is still alive. Repotted those too. I may have shocked a lot of the plants by repotting in the winter, but I did repot while the weather was nice and balmy. So I'm hoping they don't shock too much. That's my other Pilia. They are so happy. Look at this. I mean, he's a little baby. And this guy did not get repotted, but it's going to. I was counting, and I have about 5 different varieties of pothos out here. Got the neon green, of course, which is going yellow because it's, I don't know why, because it needs repotted with better soil, I'm assuming. We have this one over here. It's, I can't remember the name of this one, but it is gorgeous with the green and yellow variegation. Queen or Empress or something like that, but a very royal name as well. She should have, because she is gorgeous. And then we have, of course, the one I just showed you. This one has kind of cool crinkly leaves and a really beautiful green and white variegation, and it has, every once in a while it just throws some green leaves, and I know some people are very disturbed by that, but I love it. I think it adds a lot of interest to the plant. And you know, they're so different from philodendrons, even though sometimes they look a little bit like them, but their nodes are set up differently, and you know, the growth points and all that. So it's a completely different species of plant, but still very enjoyable. Look at the leaf on this one. It's a gorgeous heart-shaped leaf. It's getting bigger. So maybe the vertical thing is true. The leaves do get bigger as they go up. So we'll see. We'll see how that does. But yeah, quite a few different varieties of pothos out here. And I have a bunch rooting in here too. Different varieties. I might take a few snips of each one, root them, and put them all in the same pot. Hopefully they do well. Got a little rosebud coming out. The last time I had a rosebud on this thing, I think a squirrel stole it and ate it. It was there, and then all of a sudden it was not there. And it was tall enough to reach the top of the fence. So it's very likely that a squirrel came along and just stole it and ate it. This one is still twisted so tightly around itself. Look at this. There's no way I'm ever gonna get that untangled. So I'm a little worried about repotting this one, although it does need it desperately. So does my rose bush. This thing is still doing okay. I need to find a much sunnier spot for that though. A couple couple more pillias. This is the angel's trumpet that I had taken from a cutting next door. My next door neighbor let me in the back of her yard, and I took this huge cutting and started trying to root them. You know, one got the banana treatment, which obviously didn't work, and the rest of them just got scuffed up a little bit along the bottom, about a centimeter up. I scuffed it just a bit to get the bark off, and they got stuck into Pepsi and Coke bottles and put in the garage for a couple of weeks where it's always dark. Darkness encourages root growth, so of course all the leaves dropped right off, and you know, that one's not doing too well. This one's thriving. It's even getting new leaves, so I think we're, hey, at least if I get one plant out of all of that, I'm happy. Especially the angel's trumpet, because it's so gorgeous, and I think I'm going to plant it in the very back corner right here, because it's in their back corner over there and it's doing beautifully. So these guys are happy. They're getting a lot of leaf mess from the trees, but you know, at some point I'm going to have to stop being so determined to keep the leaves out of the garden, because I'm not going to be able to keep up with it, I don't think. I have gone back to work full time, so I worked like a mad woman trying to get everything in before I went back to work, but I mean, it's just not possible. Some of these sprouts haven't come up yet, and you know, I'm just waiting to see some sprouts. That is the hibiscus, I believe. Either that or it is the, I don't remember. God, I didn't mark them. See, this is why you have to mark everything, you guys. I'm the worst. So when it starts to fruit, it'll be, surprise, hey, this is what I am. I was not a cucumber. I was not an acorn squash. I was this. These guys. Super happy. And I also wanted to point out that this bare little one that I had left in the ground is already bringing new leaves. So happy for that. And I put my basil here because this is where I'm gonna plant it. So I wanted it to get used to its new environment, so I just stuck it in there. I'll be burying it soon. This one is also doing pretty well. I'm really amazed at the resiliency of tomato plants after frostbite. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 8. Not bad. Actually 9 though. I mean, I do have my gorgeous beefsteak tomato over there. And I also took apart and repotted my purple clover. I don't know how it's gonna do. It's in pretty bad shock right now. But I got 3 pots worth out of them. Now these have always had the ability to die back and come back. So I'm hoping that that's gonna happen with this one. It's looking pretty sad. Everything else is looking good though. When they're not decorated with leaves. This one doesn't look too happy. I don't know why. It was looking great. Let's see. Maybe that's not the best place for it. That's the thing. You have to kind of move them around and see what they want, see what they like. One. I just love this one. This one has some white variegation on it as well as yellow. Just beautiful though. This one's doing okay. Still standing up. I just don't know how to keep the stems from getting so long and spindly you know, and then flopping over and playing dead. So these are all gonna get a haircut. They're getting out of here. This is gonna be my project for today, to make little clippings of this one and just get that out of there because it's suffering. I don't like to see a plant suffer. This one's suffering too, and I don't know why. I mean, that was the one that was like the little happy surprise. So I don't know what to do with it. Maybe I should bring it up and put it in some decent soil and then maybe repot it back into the ground. I don't know. This guy, he's just crazy. It's crazy how healthy he is. Look at that. Just amazing. I lost a couple of leaves in the repotting and separating out, and it was so root bound. I took this thing out and I'm surprised it had any soil left in it at all. The roots were just wrapped completely around itself, and I had to hose it out and untangle all the roots and then get to work on separating them. And yeah, some of them are not happy. Some of the edged ones are not looking super healthy, so we're gonna have to get those off. There we go. Don't want them contaminating the entire plant. And this fern, whatever it is, haven't been able to figure it out yet, is thriving. It's so happy. And this fern, doing even better than last time I looked at it. I cleaned out some of the old sticks, but not all, because some of them are still live. So I don't mess with live stuff unless it's a bad leaf that needs to come off. But that's my quick little wander through the garden, and thank you for stopping by. The potatoes are still thriving, and I've hilled them again, hoping for a better production out of these. There are 3 plants here, I think. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's 3, well, 4 left. That one looks like it's dying back a little bit, so we'll keep a close eye on that one. So I'll wait until it's completely brown, leave the potatoes in for 1 more week, and then dig them up. But yeah, I've kept to my promise that I was not going to plant anything in here until all the potatoes come up. Then I'm going to plant all new potatoes again. Now, every single one of my unripe tomatoes turned green, so I don't know if they are good to use for seed potatoes or not. I'm going to have to research that. But when I do and I find out, I will let you know. These guys are happy. They're all so happy. Look at these guys. Started a little bit of a trellis on this stick here, hoping to encourage them to climb up. Tied it very loosely around the stem, and when I say loosely, it's barely there, so it has lots of room for the root to thicken up. Sorry for my sniffling, you guys. It's chilly out, and when it gets below, I don't know, 75, I start sniffling like a little kid. So, but yeah, I'll definitely keep you up to date on this little journey. I think he's gonna go in a pot first with some tropical plant mix. Look at this mint. It's out of control. Another pothos back there. I don't know if it said pothos or pothos, but I've always called him pothos, so I'm gonna keep doing that. These are a little less curled up and scared looking. So the poor things. They did not do well during the freeze at all, but they are coming back. I also put this guy in the ground because I needed the pot that it was in. And this sucker, you could bury it up to its neck in Florida sand and it'll do great, so. But I didn't do that. I went ahead and gave it some nice soil as a good starter. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it for the last few days. I have been busy. I've got my little transplanting station set up here. And I have my little stool that my daughter gave me for Christmas that I just sat there and did it all. So it was great. That is what the Meyer lemon was in. So you can see this is way, way too big for that poor little Meyer lemon, because we downsized quite a bit and it didn't have that much of a root system on it. So it's much happier in there and it won't get its feet wet. So maybe by the end of the season, I'll upgrade it one size, but we'll see. One size. No more drowning plants in gigantic pots and wasting soil, because yeah, all the soil ended up in the potato patch and in this garden bed over here, which we have not decided what we're putting in here yet, but I'm still stocking it with soil and, you know, fertilizer and all that good stuff. So when it's ready, whatever is planted in here will take off. I did pick a couple of mushrooms out of here, and I read that if you're getting mushrooms, then your soil is nice and rich. So that made me happy. Still waiting on soil for these. Also on seedlings, you know, I'm trying to plant seeds in little pots and then transplant it in the little compostable pots, so that they don't get transplant shock, or at least not too much, by being put out in the wild like this. And I hear Milo screaming at the door, so I'm gonna go and pay attention to him. He was out earlier. We were out here at 6 in the morning. It was still dark and it was cold, and he did not love it. He wanted to go in right away. So that is where I'm headed. And you guys have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend. And thank you again for stopping by. Bye.